Alright guys, here we go. The iSatin icon. Basically what you're going to do, open up your, from the download, your PSD, open that up. I zoomed into it. To load your action, go over to your action palette. If you're on a Mac, the down arrow, open up load actions, copy and drag the action into this area, select it and click load. That'll load it. You may be able to double click on it, but that's just a way to do it. So after that, you basically select your icon. You'll have your, after it's loaded, you should see the iSatin button in blue. On your action palette, it's easier if you have button mode selected. It's just a lot easier. So iSatin button will end up looking blue, should be blue. Have a screenshot open or any other image you want to drag into the template. On the template, on the layers palette, you have the frame, the glare, and the shape 2. When you open it, frame should be highlighted and selected. If it's not, you want to make sure that you just select it. You don't want to have glare selected or shape 2. You want to be on frame. What that'll do is when you drag in your new layer, it'll position it in the topmost position. If for some reason you had glare positioned, it'll place it in between frame and glare, and then the action won't run. If that's the case, you just drag it up above frame. Secondly, you want to make sure that the new layer is named layer space 1. It has to be for the action to run correctly. So let's do a quick run through. You basically, that was an old icon there from a demo I did. Take your screenshot, select it, drag it into your template, position, and there's no need to crop, position the icon that you want to make, and we're going to do voice memos kind of at the guidelines, the top of the guideline and the left of the guideline, just like I have here. That's going to be pretty close. The layer should be on the topmost position, and it has to say layer space 1. If it doesn't, right click, layer properties, and name it layer 1. Has to be layer 1. You can bring down the opacity on the layer just to make sure that your icon will be centered, and you can adjust it as needed. When you're happy with it, just make sure you bring it back to 100. Make sure layer 1 is selected. Go down to your iSatin action and just click it, and bam, icon made. On a Mac, it's automatically going to drop it to the desktop. You'll just have to rename it. You can just rename it to the icon name. I'll open it up, and this is pretty much it. There's your icon. I'm going to drag it over here just so you can see that the reflection's good, and that's pretty much it. So icon done. After you're done with the first icon, you just select back onto your template, go to your history palette, and reset it the topmost opening state. So you want to bring it to the open state. And you're done. You can go back to your action palette, and your iSatin action should still be blue. This is how it seems to be working. Works really, really good. We'll do another one really fast just for giggles. Drag it in. Do photos. Drag in the photo. Again, if you want to bring down and make sure you're centered, we're going to call that good. Make sure layer 1 selected, and that is called layer 1 in the top position. Hit the action button. Now, if you don't rename your first one like I did above here, it'll want to replace it. I'm going to go ahead and replace it. So make sure you rename that first, or you could, overwrite it. But we're going to overwrite it because we didn't change the name. So done, open it up, and here's our new icon. Simple as that. Now what's happening here, so I'm going to close that one down, reset this action, or the history action is blue. So what's happening on the PC side is when you run, if you follow all those steps pretty much to hitting the iSatin action, you're going to run all the way and it'll complete the icon, but it will not save it to the desktop. You're going to have to save it manually by going to File, Save for Web and Devices, and then naming your file and location. But at that point, you'll go back to the history, to the open state, just like we did for the Mac side, but your iSatin button will be red. So that means you're not going to be able to make a second one unless the iSatin actions reset. Easy way for me to do that is to keep another window open, select that window, and just click some different actions here until you get an error thrown on that guy. So you want to be able to throw an error, and I don't know which one will throw the error. Okay, here we go. Just threw the error on this one. So you just got to find one, and then you'll remember it. I don't have to worry about this side. I do at work when I make icons. But once you throw the error and you get red on your temporary window that's open, it'll clear the iSatin one, and then you're good to make another icon. So you're just going to have to do that step to make sure you can make another icon. Again, if you press the iSatin button and it's not blue, it won't run it properly. So 3 key things: the layer that you drag in has to end up being called layer 1, has to be on the very top position, and your iSatin action has to be blue for it to operate. So backsides have the luxury of having it thrown right to the desktop for you to rename before you make another one. On the PC side, you're just going to have to save it yourself, but it still saves a lot of steps and having to do the icon completely manually, which would be a pain because it actually resizes the icon smaller in the process. So if you make them manually, you're going to end up with a larger icon unless you know the percentage that it drops, which if you have to, I could tell you. Worst case is just send it to me on the Mac City theme thread as a request, and I'll get all those icons made as soon as I can for you. My hopes is to try and figure out what's going on the PC side, and if I have to, make a separate action for the PC. So I'm juggling between PC and Mac from home and work right now, so I'm just going to have to bear with me until I work out the bugs on that side. But again, for all you PC users that are getting frustrated by that, I'll just make them for you, not a problem at all. All right? Thanks for the support, you guys. Have a great one. Bye.